Hello everyone and welcome. Laura here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm honored to join the Greetery for their May release. They're also celebrating their first anniversary, so there's lots of celebrations happening. So their collection for May is called the Confetti Collection. I have a couple of projects to share with you featuring this Pinwheel Party stencil set. Okay, this is a layering stencil set, and there are so many stencils in the set, more than 4. There's some other ones there that I didn't even show, but this allows you to create beautiful pinwheels, and you can layer each pinwheel for endless pinwheel party possibilities. So I have a panel of Neenah Solar White, and I don't know if you can see when I turn the stencil, there are some grid lines that help you line up your stencil, whether you're doing a portrait style card or a landscape. Makes it effortless. So I'm starting landscape style. In the end, I do turn it portrait style. You just never know. Every card's an evolution, but I'm using Distress Inks for my color, starting with Candied Apple. My first layer of pinwheels are going to be light. So I'm not adding a lot of color, not very hard in the pressure. And this is the other stencil that I lay over top because I'm trying to go in rainbow order. So I'm counting like red, orange, yellow, green. Cracked Pistachio is going to go right there, which is one of my favorite colors. And then we have a little blueprint sketch. Again, light hand because I want this layer to be subtle. And then I finish it off with a little picked raspberry. So now when I lift up the stencil, you can see this first layer of subtle pinwheels. It doesn't look like much. Actually, it looks like fireworks. Now I'm going to lay the second layer down, which lines up. You can use those little grid lines to make sure you get it lined up just so. I'm using the same colors, just going with a heavier hand, more pressure to make it as dark and vibrant as I can. Now for the yellow one, originally I used squeezed lemonade. I pulled out a little mustard seed to amp up the yellow. And then with cracked pistachio, just heavier handed, or as I like to call it, full throttle on the ink blending. I finish it off with the picked raspberry. Now wait till I lift this up. I mean, the tone on tone just gets me every time. Boom. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the second layer of pinwheels, which lines up like, okay, this just knocks my socks off. I just think it's a genius in design. Betsy Veldman, let me tell you, okay, can I fangirl a minute about Betsy Veldman? I've been following her since the early days of Paper Tray Ink. When I used to order every month, I was such a fan of hers. And then when I finally was so honored to be able to join the Paper Tray Ink team, I was working alongside of her. And she's the type of designer that when you're working with her, you actually break out in zits. Trying to be worthy to be in the same blog hop column as Betsy Veldman. That's how I feel about it. I just think her designs are so genius. And her cards, her photography, her color choices, even her, just her personality, her class. Okay, I'll stop gushing over Betsy. I'm a fan. Okay, I'm going to keep this card very simple, stamping the sentiment from this small little Pinwheel Party stamp set that coordinates with everything. I'm just going to pop this panel right up onto a white card base. Again, keeping it very clean and simple. Now to finish it off, I couldn't resist to add a few little Pinkfresh Studio crystals in the center where I could, and I use glossy accents and that Studio Katia embellishment wand, and they just really give it the eye candy that it deserves. Now this card's finished, card number 1 with the Pinwheel Party. Now number 2, I think kicks it up another notch. Okay, so there are Pinwheel Party coordinating dies. Here are a couple small little singular stencils that are also included in the Pinwheel Party stencil set. Like I'm telling you, talk about bang for your buck. Now I'm doing 2-toned pinwheels here. So I hold it down with my hand and I do one side spiced marmalade, one side picked raspberry. Again, keeping it subtle. I rotate the stencil, and this time I go in with a heavy-handed full throttle to make it nice and vibrant. Picked raspberry, spiced marmalade, bada boom, bada bing. Wait till I take this off. I mean, forget about it. Okay, so I forgot that the dies are solid, so you can't see what you're doing. Now to line it up, I just die cut it on some scratch paper, and that way I can just hold that negative right up to my ink blending, and that'll allow me to get the die centered and straight like so. So I take that off camera, run it through my die cutting machine, and it works like a charm. It's nice and centered. Couple little details you can pop out with the retractable needle tool. And look at that two-tone pinwheel. I'm going to do a bunch more. I went ahead and die cut a few with the 3 different sizes of pinwheel dies. That way they're already die cut and I can just stencil on the die cut. So either way, how you like to do it, stencil first, die cut later, die cut first, stencil later. Either way works. So this one here is Squeezed Lemonade and Twisted Citron. The first base layer is subtle. I rotate the stencil and I go in full throttle. I'm getting giddy because after I'm done with this voiceover, lunch has been taken care of by hubby. Thank you very much. And then yesterday, Bailey did the dishes after supper. Things are looking up around here, okay? And people are pitching in, and I am here for it. Yesterday, my younger son, Charlie, talked me into riding bikes with him to the grocery store. Okay, I haven't ridden a bike here in Germany. This was my first, and he rides bikes all the time, loves it. He just want to go for a bike ride with mom. And I'm like, I don't know. First of all, I'm terribly out of shape. Second of all, I just don't know the rules. Like, I don't want to get yelled at if I'm riding on the wrong side or whatever. I don't know. I'm just like paranoid of getting yelled at by a German because I broke the rules unknowingly. But we rode the bike to Lidl. I got what could fit in my backpack. The only problem was the way back was all uphill. Can I tell you, my thighs were seizing up. Broke out in a sweat. Charlie's looking at me like, Mom. And I'm like, honey, I got to get in shape for this. But we had fun and the sun was shining. It was good. We did have to wear our mask. That's a different experience. But these cards are finished. Make sure and check out the Greetery for the confetti collection. And happy 1st anniversary. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.